Guard post ahead. We must go underground.
Time to explore some more of your new underground music gems. Let's check out Terravore with Spiral of Downfall. Oh yeah, ooh, we were getting some gang vocals there too. Sorry I had to cut it off again as usual. I'm giving about 30 seconds per band here. Already off to a good start though. This band is out of Bulgaria and it sounds like some sick death thrash. Awesome. Big fan of that particular fusion. This came out back in March, but didn't hear about it till recently. And yeah, this seems really sick. Love the cover art too, and it's a little kind of like moderate year for thrash. There's some really awesome gems, but not as strong as say like last year, and I feel like next year though is gonna be killer. But moving on to Still with a Theft. Cavernous production on that one. I'm already digging what I'm hearing. A little bit of like Deathspell Omega in the guitars too, but overall more of kind of like a post-metal vibe, but on the more kind of aggressive side of things. These guys are out of Hull, UK. In the tags, we do have black metal, post-black metal, black and hardcore. This came out in November, and it sounds really strong. Another one, I like the simplicity of this album art, and yeah, just pure atmosphere. And the way I like it too, where it doesn't feel repetitious. It seems like there's some dynamics going on here. Maybe a little bit more on the kind of like progressive approach to songwriting side. So yeah, another banger to open this thing up. Next up, we have Nefalem with A Realm Beyond. Boy, we're killing it already. These guys are out of Budapest, Hungary. Love this kind of like almost D&D looking artwork. Feeling kind of a mixture of sort of melodic death metal and groove metal down in the tags. Yeah, we got that. Also have, I always thought this modern metal tag is kind of a nothing tag. It's like, what does that actually mean? But yeah, just uniting elements of like Lamb of God and like Soilwork, maybe The Haunted, stuff like that. Like really great. I don't know what else to say. Production wise, like maybe some work could be done there. It's a little bit on like the Loudness Wars kind of compression sounding side of things. But again, I'm only listening to a couple seconds, so could be wrong about that. But digging what I'm hearing so far overall. All right, we have Askelad with Lichtung. Another cool sounding one there, kind of atmospheric black metal, post-black metal. Really beautiful and kind of haunting. Really loving the production on this one. Just very ensorceling. Feels like it's kind of mixing sort of some of the elements that I love about early second wave and the vibes of that, but sort of modernizing it so that it's not so rough on the ears to listen to, maybe. These guys are out of Leipzig, Germany. And this definitely strikes me as one that even in a year where I've been a little bit burned out on black metal, I'm intrigued to hear more. Runtime's a little bit on the longer side, but again, that's not bad for me in and of itself. It's just a matter of, can you keep it interesting all the way through? And it did sound interesting. So yeah, check out Askelad. Next up is Thunraz with Incineration Day. Okay, this band out of Estonia, their description, demons howling in a flesh prison. Genre-wise, tough to put my finger on. A little bit of death metal, a little bit of like gothic kind of music in there too. I'm on the fence about what I'm hearing about those cleans, but again, it's just a little sampling, so maybe I'd come to like it. This came out in November. By the way, that last album is recent. It's December. This is late November. What we got in the tags? Avant-garde metal, death metal, experimental, industrial, mathcore. Okay, there might be a lot more to kind of dig into here, which is the tough part of just sampling a single track, but I kind of got to get things moving along. But by the way, this this album art reminds me of this YouTube channel I randomly got recommended with these sort of weird, sort of experimental and funny videos, and there's this character called the Peaceful Cube or something like that. The Restful Cube, that's what it is.
I thought I told you, by the time I got home from work, you had better be out there looking for a friggin' job.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm watching my shows.
Alright, anyways, moving on. We have Culto with De Margens, Fendas et Trevas. Alright, speaking of just classic second wave black metal, this is some Brazilian black metal, very much in that style, just raw, rugged, ruthless, no frills. A little repetitive from what I was hearing from that song, which is kind of a downside for me, but I mean, people who want this style, like, that's usually what they want. So, it's like, if you're shooting for the target, I think you're hitting the target. It's just, there's so many bands that sound like this, so I'm just a little bit over it, but as far as what you're going for, seems like you're nailing it. Plus, I always like to rep Brazil. There's some cool stuff coming out of there. All right, next up is Duisternis with Relapse into Submission. Okay, that sounds pretty rad. More black metal spectrum kind of stuff. This one out of Glasgow, UK, and seemingly very strong emphasis on atmosphere, but like slowly building atmosphere. As I was skipping forward, I was hearing them kind of adding elements each time, like that bassy guitar and just the kind of like hypnotic vibes of it. A little bit of like an industrial edge on this one too, I would say, and that I feel like that. I get that vibe from the cover art a little bit too. Not sure if they put that in the tags. They didn't, but Yeah, this one sounds interesting. Sounds like a good album to just vibe to, throw on in the background and kind of get lost. Turn off the lights, maybe throw on some candles, maybe not. But yeah, I guess this is also a side project to Razorhead Productions. It looks like a solo project too, based on the the picture here. But next up we have Hoarding Corpses with Hoarding Corpses. All right, just some pure death metal right where it kind of really took off out of Florida. Cool album art. And also, this is how you start off an album, y'all. Although I did skip the intro, to be fair. I was going to give them credit, actually, for just getting right into it. I got to say, too many albums now have obligatory intros. Like, some albums have really great intros that I absolutely love, and the build can be fun. But frankly, I skip over it a lot of the time because it's just like... You don't need it. Like, just get into it. Like, kick right into high gear like they do with this track. And love the drumming in particular. That was definitely a highlight for me. So, yeah, skip the intros. Moving on, we have Null with First Sign Ahead. More excellent atmosphere and drums. Very good vibing music. This is out of Birmingham, Alabama. Vocals kind of remind me a little bit of Between the Buried and Me, but overall style I'd describe as kind of post-metal, doom, sludge, stuff to complement a road trip through the desert. Even here, it looks like we got like an overhead shot of some area potentially. Dig it. I used to listen to a ton of music in this style, and I just haven't as much lately. Not exactly sure why. There's no specific reason, but I love that crushing is in the tags here too. Death rock is in here too, so that's kind of interesting. And post-punk, repetitive also in the tag. But I feel like this is the good kind of repetitive potentially. Again, I just got a little sample here, but digging what I'm hearing so far. Next up is Kulok with Ens Astrale. Okay, I was getting some Opeth vibes from that acoustic at first, but we kind of went in a different direction there. Definitely still getting some prog here, both from the song length, from the dynamics in terms of what I was hearing when I was skipping ahead. Cool album art, too. A little bit more of like a black metal influence in there, too. Maybe a little enslaved, especially in those synth lines. Seems just a very grand sounding album. I will say, I would love to hear what I was hearing here with more of kind of the production of the previous album, or even now I'm forgetting which one it was, but just something that complements that grand feel a little bit more, but sometimes a little bit more of a raw edge can work too. Like Isa is a little bit more of a raw sounding record, but still very epic in its own way. We got black metal catharsis in the tags, progressive metal, doom metal, lots of stuff going on here. Drone folk. Sounds interesting. I love that particular union of things. But yeah, and maybe another solo project too. This one out of Texas. Next, we have Beehive Revolt with Husk. You know, it's funny, Beehive Revolt sounds more like a mathcore band, but this does remind me of, like, there are a couple sort of heavier, more extreme bands that mathcore fans seem to enjoy. One that's coming to mind right now is Telos. There's another one that the name is escaping me right now. But anyways, it's kind of in that vibe where it's sort of like that more technical mathy flair meets the like black and death metal stuff. This is out of Greece too. I always love hearing stuff out of Greece because I feel like they always bring this kind of like unique flavor to what they do. We got avant-garde metal, dissonant black metal. Sounds very interesting and definitely very, very dissonant, very raw and ugly, a little bit angular, a little bit Deathspell Omega in there as well, as I mentioned with that previous band. And so, yeah, another one sounds very intriguing and up my alley. But moving on, we have Cryptic Conversion with From the Oblivion.
These viscous masses were without roots developed into other...
All right, some more kind of pure death metal on the more brutal side of things. A little bit of blackened energy in there at times too, both in kind of the overall atmosphere. This kind of very cold, snowy kind of vibe that's fitting there. It looks like it's not just the album cover; it might be part of their aesthetic in general. Production again, another one where I've got some issues with that loudness, where it's like overly blown out sounding stuff, but as far as like the music itself sounded pretty banger. This is out of Stavropol, Russia, and technical death metal in the tags. Next up is Fogbank with Redacted.
Fuck!
All right, leave it to the punks to, again, know how to start an album with no bullshit. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. And in addition to loving metal, I love classic punk. I also love, like pop punk, more that kind of 2000s stuff as well. But I do have a special place in my heart for things like Dead Kennedys, Old Bad Religion, all that kind of stuff. And love, especially that unmistakable punk bass. It's just so thick and abrasive, and this is a good example of how to do like loud, ugly recording in a way that makes sense. Like that's punk, just like with Second Wave is Second Wave, like it's that way for a reason. I think there's a similar aesthetic to this Cincinnati, Ohio band, and in the tags we got punk, chain punk, hardcore, weirdo punk. Okay, yeah. Very loud, very aggressive, should appeal to most metalheads just as much as your standard metal release. But moving on, we have Ancient Torment with Force Me Upon Death. kind of perfect that these ended up being back to back. Because again, like to the point I was making and the parallel I was making, you can hear kind of the influence that punk had on that classic second wave black metal sound, especially in the drums, but also that like last guitar part, just that like kind of basic power chord progression and the tone of the guitar even, and just like the overall rebelliousness of it all coming through here again in a raw style, but just for a different mode, a different overall approach, and a more kind of dark aesthetic. This is out of Rhode Island too, which is another kind of good place for punk too. Don't get a lot of black metal out of Rhode Island, but it's always fun when we do, because it's just interesting to think of getting this like Scandinavian vibe out of such a different type of region. Black metal torture. This just came out this December. Black metal, raw black metal in the tags. What else can I say? It's some more raw black metal for you. Next up, Valley of Despair with Burn at the Stake.
Inside their veins, they come to find someone. No vision, like leading on the lines. Their conscious, clean blood, lost righteous, willful, evil shall rise.
All right, I feel like last time we had more female vocalists, but I think this is our first and potentially only of today. The guitar work and the drumming was reminding me a lot of like modern day Cave-In. Like it, I was banging my head already, like very catchy energy. I think my only feedback on this one, again, the production feels a little, the word that's coming to mind is phony. Like it's like too processed, like the drums in particular, as much as I love the rhythm, it just feels fake. But I see that you have a full lineup here, so I don't think they're programmed. Maybe they are. I don't know. But even if they aren't, they kind of sound that way. It just, everything feels very overly processed. So I'd like to scale that back, make it sound a little bit more organic. But as far as the songwriting itself, that seemed like a banger, like a banger. And I like the cover arts. This is out of Alberta. I'd be interested to check out more. So as you put out stuff, keep sending more stuff. And obviously I'm not a producer, but just if you want my feedback, that's what it is. And then we have Chrome with The Phoenix.
Seems like we are all anesthetized by greedy eye, dancing on our graves.
All right, another more kind of rock-oriented group here, and I think capturing more of the production I would want from this group. So what we hear here, I'd love that applied a little bit more to this project. This is more on the kind of the stoner rock side of things, but also like sludge, post-metal, maybe even Queens of the Stone Age, that kind of vibe to an extent. Seeing that all in the tags. Again, sounded very catchy. Love the energy. Love the guitar. And I still love stuff like this too, especially to break up. Sometimes it gets a little monotonous to listen to too much black metal or death metal in a row, and I need a palate cleanser. And sometimes they end up being my favorite albums of the year too. Again, speaking of Cave-In, like I think that made my best albums of like, was that 2022, 2023? I don't even remember. Time again is a flat circle, as I frequently reference on this channel, but sounds pretty rad. Yeah, so y'all check out all these bands, give them your hard-earned money, because they deserve it. Oftentimes I find things in here that are better than the stuff that the labels are sending me, and so love to elevate this scene. That's what this segment is all about. Also, if you want to become more of a supporter of the channel, you can become a channel member. You can become a patron. Really appreciate that. You can buy merch, which there's a link always just like right below the video to do that, or in the description. But really just watching this segment and helping this segment get bigger is the biggest thing. Watching it all the way through. Hell, watch it, let it play twice through to give it the watch time so that it spreads to more people. This is the hardest sell segment. So whatever you can do to get these artists out in front of more eyes, I really appreciate it. And yeah, that'll do it for now. Last one of these of 2024. See you in 2025 in the trenches.